Flight boss, bitch, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucker responsibilities. And right now, I want to talk about the rainbow. Now, the rainbow, you got 7 color spectrums, 7 stars. See what I'm saying? Now, there's billions of stars out there, but there's only 7 that's most close to our space and location. So these are the ones that can create a realm of reality because we are receiving the information off the light that they are emitting much faster than the other color spectrums that you see, aka stars or lights. So for the most part, the further out you look, it's just going to appear to be blank or black or what y'all think to be dark. But that's really just all the colors, spectrums, mixed and mingled in one. So there's many different colors that y'all have never ever seen before. But the color spectrums that we can correlate with and mix and mingle for our own selves will be the 7. So you have the 7 stars, 7 lights, 7 color spectrums, aka the rainbow. Now, let's break this down before we get deep into the video. What you need to understand is the moon. Now, the moon actually creates the illusion of the world that we are in. So the moon gives us the power and the ability to receive, aka perceive, aka react and respond. See that re-word, that R-E, you know what I'm saying? To receive and perceive the color spectrums that we are in at the moment in the first place. So this is why the moon is closest to us. The moon is the moon of the star that we are in at the moment. So this is going to help us receive this realm of reality, right? So this is our quickest satellite, our quickest antenna, our quickest glasses, our quickest body, our light body. Your eye and all that is just a heavier, dense form of a light body. But our moon is one of our lightest bodies to perceive this realm and the color spectrums that we're going to see from the masculine energies of these stars, right? So when we talk about the rainbow, you need to understand that the moon moves a degree every 2 hours. And here's the relationship that it has with the sun. You see what I'm saying? The sun moves through a house every 2 hours. What is a house? A house is an area or a location or a position in the sky. This is how we correlate what's actually going on and what stars is going through what area and location and what influence that they have and what influences that they working with and how we're going to experience it. So for an example, let's say the first house is 6 a.m. through 8 a.m. So that will be when the sun, the closest star, masculine star, the fire star, is traveling through the first house. 6 a.m. through 8 a.m. Now, I don't want any of you lost logical people to be like, look, he just took time and try to correlate the sun traveling with time. What you need to understand is whoever created time created it off the shit I'm talking about. It's not the other way around. It's not I'm correlating the sun with time. No, whoever created time was correlating it with the sun travel, motherfucker. And that's what I'm talking about right now. So, before it was even called time and houses, it was just us trying to calculate and understand the sun travel through the motherfucking sky. So when the sun is traveling through 6 a.m. through 8 a.m., that's the sun traveling through the first house. So what is the first house? The first house is your personality, personal issue, personal arousement, personal affairs. Now, that's correlated with ascension, rising, and things of that nature. So this would gives the ability to let astrologers know what is your rising sign. The constellation that the sun appear to be rising through the time you was born. Now, the actual rising, when you see the sun rising in the morning, and when we all get the morning concept, life, death, or birth, death, but actually it's just transformation, is where we get all that energy concept from when the sun is traveling from that area and location. And that's just where y'all calculated y'all time from 6 a.m. through 8 a.m. Now, 8 a.m. through 10 a.m. will be when the sun traveling through the second house. 10 a.m. through 12 p.m. will be when the sun traveling through the third house. See what I'm saying? So understand what the houses mean, and you can understand each space and location all the way until you get to 4 a.m. in the morning to 6 a.m. in the morning. That will be when the sun is traveling through the 12th house. You see what I'm saying? The 12th house, which is correlated through the Pisces house. But that area and space and location energy vortex is what created the star constellations and the stars and the lights and the shapes and forms of Pisces. But Pisces has moved along and it constantly moves. So it could be in any house based upon what area and location we're traveling in at the moment and where it's traveling in at the moment based upon the year and the season, shit like that. That's how we calculate the shit. So that's what you need to understand before we even get into the rainbow. The moon moves a degree every 2 hours, and the sun moves a house every 2 hours. The same way, and what's a degree? The sun moves a degree every day, every 24 hours. You see what I'm saying? So this is how you even get like us getting the leap year and us taking off seconds and minutes off the 24 hour of the day, because you know these motherfuckers know what they doing. It's y'all who don't know what's going on. These motherfuckers know what the fuck they doing and shit like that. But when you start to understand the closest stars to us, you start to understand each star represents a color spectrum because it's carrying out a certain duty and obligation and an energy signature. So when you looking at it, right, look at it like this. The moon. So the moon is traveling before us for us to perceive these colors. You should perceive it. So that's why the moon travels the fastest. Then you got the solar plexus, right? Which will be the sun. So that represents the sun. That's why you see the sun being yellow. But this is why it's important to understand the spirituality energy signatures of colors, because you'll be able to understand how you even able to see it in the first place. Because it goes towards a certain energy signature, right? So a certain energy signature is playing out a certain way, and the more attention is being paid towards that energy signature, you will start to see the shape and form of it in the most non-physical to physical way, in the most lightest way to the most dense way. Now, in the most lightest vibrational way in this realm of reality, we'll start seeing it as color shade or color spectrums and shit like that. But it's really just an energy signature that's playing out already. So, for an example, now 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning is actually ruled by Mars. Mars actually rules the 1st and the 8th house. So so that's the area it participated in, those areas of life first. So when you see the sun travel through it, since the sun is here based upon our evolutionary life now, the sun may share similar colors of that spiral vortex. So instead of us seeing just pure yellow, we're going to see shades of red. So we're going to see the color spectrum yellow have a bunch of color spectrum of red with it. Now, what is the color spectrum of red? Movement. Shifting. You know what I'm saying? This is where you get the concept of infrared from it, and wanting to see how something moves beyond the shape and form that is in. You know what I'm saying? Because the red represents forcefulness, passion, fast intent. And what's the word I'm looking for? Not infrared, but red. It's something that scientists use as far as their telescopes and shit like that, in order for and if it's the other red shit, but off the bat, Mars is carrying that. So when you get highly upset and highly mad, or you got a desire or passion that you want to dive into, a lot of times the only thing you're gonna see is red. So you know, that's a vortex and a spiral that Mars is already participating in. So when you see the sun, based upon the position that it's in, when it's going through 6 a.m. through 8 a.m. in the morning, it actually start to share some similar vortexes of the travels that Mars have already went through. So color spectrums of red will be amongst the Earth. So this is where you see the actual morning, and why the color spectrum look the way it looks in the morning. So you're actually going to end up seeing the whole rainbow spectrum throughout the day, from 6 a.m. in the morning all the way to 4 a.m. at night. You see what I'm saying? Now, that's the Mars time of the day. Now, when you start to see it orange, you start to get more into the aspects of the third, the Jupiter part. Now, the Mars, see, this is a different aspect when you're looking at it in this way. Mars gonna rule the from 6 a.m. all the way until we get to probably 12 p.m. Now 12 p.m. it will be the start of the 4th house. You see what I'm saying? The 4th house. Now that's ruled by Jupiter, because Jupiter is exalted in the 4th house. See, we dealing with positioning right now. So this is why that time of the day is more orangey. You know what I'm saying? It's more orangey part of the day. So it's leaving the red spectrum, and then you're still catching the yellow because you're catching the sun, but then you're catching Jupiter emphasis now. So it's catching that kind of misty color. So now you're going to get orange in the world. Now, what does orange represents? Orange represents optimism, happiness, you know what I'm saying? And just really being overly happy and just dealing with imagination and creating, not dealing with logic or anything, not communicating, just within yourself and being happy and wanting to be seen for that, being center stage from that. So when we leave in red, it's moving through that. So red was the energy that you have seen. So this is a happy coming into existence, birth, springing in. You know what I'm saying? That's the morning time. And then once you get it from the orange shift, that's it being wise, risen up, wisdom. Now it's lightening it up a little bit. It's not as red anymore. It's a little bit more optimistic. It's a little bit more higher. It's a little bit more perceived. It's a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, relatable, mutable. You know what I'm saying, having multiple perceptions, being able to perceive multiple ways of seeing anything in this realm of reality. This is why Jupiterian people have multiple ways of seeing religion, spiritualities, and things of that nature, and they'll cling on to one. Then you get to the highest part of the word, which y'all quote unquote want to call highest of the day, but it's really the solar plexus. It's really, then you get to the center. So this is where you're going to get the most yellow part of the day. This is where you see the sun the most part of the day based upon your lostness. So this is where you get the most yellowness, and this is compatible to where you at also, because next represents, the next color spectrum represents green, and that will be the earth aspect. So this is where things become most green. You see the most fruit and fruition out of the land. This is why summertime in every culture are the most green. It's most greens. It's most green amongst the earth, because we are on a star that is green, which is, y'all call it Earth, but it's just the stationary and the thing that took shape and form from the group of alignments into the center piece right now. So when you got a bunch of stars aligning in a certain way, it creates an orb in the middle. And now over time, that orb becomes a realm of reality itself, a star itself, a consciousness itself. Now that information take the shape and form of the alignments, and it could become its own position, and it could become the birth of a star. You know what I'm saying? And it has all the information of the alignment and the angles and the oppositions and the sextiles and the trines of what birthed it. And now it could become its own representation of all those elements and be one of that, to be its own, to do that amongst others now. You see what I'm saying? So this is why scientists is not going to find green stars amongst us. You're only going to see fire stars, water stars like the moon, air stars like Mercury and shit, misty stars and shit like that. But earthly stars is like the stars we are in. So this is why it correlates to what the space that we are in, and dragon colors and reptilian colors and this kind of green color. And this is why all the grass and all the most naturalists, which everything in nature ain't natural. All you motherfuckers ain't natural. When we talk about cleansing of the earth, we talk about you motherfuckers. The moment you need something from something to sustain yourself, you're not part of that. If it was something that you are a part of, you already have it. Otherwise, you will be able to go within yourself and eat something of yourself to be able to live, or eat something that's the same of yourself to be able to live. No, you can't do that. You have to take from something that's completely not you. So you're not from here, and you don't grow from here, out of the ground here. So your ass ain't native to here. Your ass is an alien here, just as well as the shit that you try to call other people. That's why I hate when I watch shit, and I don't even get into the conscious community, how y'all look at the conscious community shit. I hate looking at that shit, because they always blaming, these are majority of black people and Hispanic people blaming white people for something like that, saying that they finna get eradicated from the shit. You is too. You ain't motherfucker. You foreign from here too. Your ass need to pluck from trees and shit like from here too, motherfucker. The fuck is you talking about? Shit, when the earth get washed clean, your ass going along with it. What the fuck? Your ass just as much as a virus as anything else. The fuck is you talking about? The fuck? But look, for the most part, look, this is what we need to talk about. Now, we're in a situation and circumstance where we're talking about green, and that's the location that we're on. Now, once we get to blue, once you leave that, you see that's that time of day be the bluest of the sky, the afternoon sky. That's when the sky is the bluest. The sky is in a situation where it's the motherfucking bluest. So that's representing the Mercury time. And when you look at Mercury, Mercury is the closest planet to the sun at the moment also. So it's giving off that energy, that circumstance, and it's giving off communication. What is blue? Blue represents communication. So anytime you see a heavy emphasis of attention being paid towards any form of communication, not just your verbal way of communicating, mental communication, thought communication, animal communication, bird communication, a heavy emphasis of that, you're going to see the color spectrum blue be created. And then the moon go across it, going to help you react and respond and be able to receive and perceive that color spectrum. So when you look at light bodies in general, a lot of times light bodies play out as the characteristics and the shapes and forms of blue. So when you look at that, you see blue. And since water reflect light or receives light or take in light or contracts light, this is why a lot of times water kind of resonate with the blue signature a lot faster in the sky, a lot faster than with the shit that is around. Because the shit that is around is heavier, dense, heavier light bodies. So it leave the light spectrum and start not reflecting light in that way and become heavy light bodies like the bodies you are in, to the point it looked at as contaminated. It's not pure. So it's not light enough to float up. So the water don't even reflect those kind of lights like that. And then you get color spectrums like that. You look at yourself in the water and you're like, what the fuck? See what I'm saying? This shit get real. But then you go down to the purple. After that, then you get to the purple color spectrum, and that's Venus. That's when we're in the Venus time of the day, the Venus part of the rainbow. You see what I'm saying? Like that'll be the Venus part of the rainbow. And then you get down to pink. That's in the morning. But when it's getting dark, when y'all think it's real dark, that's really just dark purplish to y'all. That's the Venus time of the day. So the Venus time of the day will be motherfucking at night, how y'all look at that. And then when it start to rise again, you know, before before it get to the sunrise and shit like that, that's that whole period of time. I say from 2 a.m. in the morning all the way to 6 a.m. in the morning. That's Saturn. That's Saturn period of time. So that's when the sky is going to be pink. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to see the yellow coming back in the spectrum, and it's blending in with the purple, and then it's lightening up the purple, and then that's where you get pink at. You know what I'm saying? And pink it could get so light to the point that it start to look silvery. So, you know, Saturn is on its way to silver, but Saturn was once purple. You know what I'm saying? At one point in time also. See, so it's telling you a story of the sky. It's telling you a story of what planet was here first and what stars was here first, and it's telling you a story of how you in a being and how you receive the rainbow. You know what I'm saying? So when you do see a rainbow spectrum, right, we know that each 7 planets, stars, is your solar system. So you have a solar system, right? So your solar system is nothing more but the system that you have created for your soul. So it's a group of lights that you created to spiritually be aware of yourself. So your spirit go into these light bodies to be aware of itself as an individual spirit. So that's how you become a soul, by creating these light bodies for yourself. Now these light bodies become your solar system, your system that you control your soul with. You see what I'm saying? So now you can be aware of your soul through these forms and shit like that. So now you got a solar system. When you look up, you see a solar system. So that lets you know that you are within a being. So for the most part, the best way that we could perceive a greater energy in our smaller energy way is making signs and symbols and sigils and shit like that. So when we see rainbow, right? If the rainbow is correlated to the 7 stars, the 7 spectrums, right? The 7 color spectrums, and it's the solar system, right? Then that will be our smaller version of being able to decipher what direction the being that we are in is going. Because I can know where you're going based upon where you walking, or based upon what's on your mind and your emotional feelings and shit like that. I know what direction your life is leading into. You see what I'm saying? Now take that same way as us seeing a rainbow. The direction and the path you see it going in, that's the direction that this being that we are in is walking in, or going in. And that's the only smallest perception that how we could perceive it. You see what I'm saying? So this is like a rotation and a vortex and a spiral, but it's also showing you that we're actually traveling also. We're traveling with a being. And based upon within that travel, we just perceive it as a vortex. But within this being itself, it's moving along somewhere like you're moving along somewhere. And how we be able to understand that in our realm of reality, for us being this small, is how we see rainbows and where the spectrum of the rainbow is going. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only way we can calculate it. So, for the most part, look at it like this. Also, it's like a leprechaun. I know you hear them stories of a leprechaun, and then once a leprechaun reaches its destination, it's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So look at this as you reaching a goal, and all your experiences before you reach that goal was the rainbow, and the pot of gold was you actually obtaining your goals. Same way if you was traveling into another location, the map will be the rainbow, and once you reach your destination, that will be the gold. You know what I'm saying? So the solar system and the color and the seven the seven color spectrums, right? And then the seven stars, the path of this being that we're going, 9 times out of 10, is a destination. When you see a rainbow and the direction of it, that's the direction of where this being going. Now, we may not know the destination, but like that's why I made that analogy towards the leprechaun and going to the end of the rainbow. Same way when you reaching your goals and things of that nature, or reaching the destination. When you need a map, the rainbow will be the map. The destination will be the pot of gold when you reach the destination after the GPS or the map. So we just can perceive the map. We just can perceive the rainbow. We just can perceive the experience and the direction. So we may not be perceiving the actual destination. We may not know where this being going. We may not know how to perceive it, but the rainbow is telling us where it's going. So pay attention where the rainbow start and where it led to. And I just broke down each color spectrum because throughout the day on a larger scale, we experience the rainbow on a bigger smear level. How I just explained it throughout the day from 6 a.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning. You know what I'm saying? You witness that whole color spectrum on a larger scale, the rainbow. And then on a smaller scale, I just broke it down. But then I broke it down what it actually is. And it's showing us the direction of this being out, this centaur-like being that we are in, where it's going. This motherfucker with legs and shit, where it's going and shit, and got a tail and shit. And walking, this animal-like motherfucker, where it's going, and the mind, and who it's talking to and shit like that. You see what I'm saying? Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air. The shit, everything in this world is deeper than what you perceive and what the scientists have told you. Believe that.